What's up, YouTube? This is my review of the Condor Hudson Bay camp slash survival knife. Now let me first say that I'm not paid by Condor. I'm not affiliated with Condor in any way, and they gave me no money to do this review. So just wanted to let you know I'm not partial to their products in any way, shape, or form. Let's start with the sheath. The sheath is really high quality for something that comes free with the knife. You can compare this to the leather that they make gun holsters out of. Very thick, very high quality leather. For free, no money, comes with the knife, guys. Now I got this knife on eBay for $29. You're not going to beat that price. It's going to be really hard to find anything that will beat this price for this type of knife with its performance. Some of the specs on it are, it's a 1075 high carbon steel, has an 8.5 inch blade, 14 1/4 overall length, and it is a full tang knife, and it is 3/16 of an inch thick. As you can see, full tang. The handles, it says, are made out of hardwood. I'm not sure what kind it is. If I had to guess, I would say that it was walnut, but I'm not 100% on that. Online, the specs that I read on this knife show it at 1.5 pounds. Now I weighed it on my own scale and I didn't come up with it. It's not that heavy. The knife by itself weighs only 1 pound, maybe even a little bit less, just under 1 pound, and knife and sheath together only weigh 1 pound 4 ounces. So that's a little discrepancy in the specs that you find on this and on the internet. It has a Scandinavian grind on it, which makes it really easy to sharpen out in the field. The steel is very high quality and takes a really good edge and keeps an edge very well. I haven't had to resharpen this one very much at all. The steel has been hardened to Rockwell scale of 60, and it does very well. It performs amazing in the woods. In fact, it outperforms some of the more expensive knives out there. Now let me tell you guys that there is absolutely no reason why you should have to spend $200, $300 for a good survival knife. It's just not necessary. You can get this knife and sheath for under 30 bucks on eBay, and you won't be sorry. I'm not. It feels excellent in the hand. The balance is very good for a knife of this size with such a large blade hanging off the front. Now, the history of this knife, I mean, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but it is a modern representation of an 1800s knife made by the Hudson Bay Trading Company. And this style knife was very popular for camping in the 1800s. And there's a reason for that. I mean, this design performs very well. It chops excellent through wood for a knife this size. Now, it's not going to compare to an axe or even my favorite woods tool, which is this cold steel Trailhawk. However, it is much smaller in size than the cold steel Trailhawk, and it does weigh a little bit less. At 1 pound 4 ounces, knife and sheath, it is a little bit lighter than my cold steel Trailhawk, which weighs in at exactly 1.5 pounds. Now, for all those of you who are going, dude, that looks like a big butcher knife. Yeah, it does. And you know what? That's fine. That's okay with me, because it performs really well. And actually, a lot of the times in the 1800s, the knives that people carried with them into the woods came straight out of their kitchen. And I think that this knife would be great for butchering large game. I haven't done that task with this knife myself, but it looks to me like it would do just fine. Again, the balance of this knife in your hand is amazing for the size knife that it is. You would think it would be really nose heavy, having this really large blade, but not at all. I mean, I'm kind of a big guy, but it fits me very well. If you guys don't have a survival knife in your pack, or hell, even if you have 2 survival knives, you should still get one of these. For $30, it's impossible to beat this deal. Now, it's not going to be as high quality as some of the $200-300 knives. Let me show you an example here. Hopefully you can see that. But right here on the handle, I mean, it needs a little bit more work to get that rounded out completely. I mean, you can see some scratches and some dents where they didn't really finish it out completely. But does that change my overall opinion of this knife? Hell no. This is an excellent knife for $30, and I'll take the unfinished handle for that price. You can just rub it with sandpaper, or if you're like me and you don't care, just leave it like it is. I mean, I don't care what my survival knife looks like, as long as it does its job, and this knife definitely does its job. Now guys, I'm not going to bother doing a chopping demonstration for this knife. If you do a search on YouTube, you can find videos where other people have done chopping demonstrations. It chops very well. It batons through wood very well. Personally, I think a chopping demonstration would be more of a demonstration of a person's skills than anything else. I don't think anybody's watched someone else chop through something with a knife and said, oh my god, I have to have that. You know, I think that's more of an issue of skill than it is of the design or anything to do with the knife, really. But what I will do is give you a comparison of my favorite wood stool, which is this Trailhawk. You can see a size comparison if I can get this thing to stay. Now, it's considerably bigger than the Hudson Bay knife. As you can see, only weighs half a pound more, but it is considerably bigger. Now, if you're looking for something of a smaller option, if you don't want to carry a big knife like this, Condor does make the Bushcraft knife, which is smaller. But I do want to say this. The Hudson Bay knife is not like the Condor Bushcraft knife, which no doubt some of you guys have seen the reviews on the Bushcraft knife. The Bushcraft is a bit of a project knife. I don't think it comes ready to use out of the box. The grind on the Bushcraft is horrendous, and I think personally the only way that you can make that knife usable is by changing the grind from the Scandi, the really shallow Scandi grind that it comes with. If you change that to a convex grind, I think you have a good knife. But if you're not into reworking your knife, you know, right out of the box, maybe the Bushcraft is not for you. But it is another good example of, see right here, well, it's just not quite finished. There is some markings on it still from a grinding wheel or a belt, a sanding belt of some sort. I don't know. But, you know, it's not the $300 knife that you would get from a custom knife maker. Or, you know, it's not even the quality of a cold steel Trailmaster or anything like that. Now, to me personally, I don't care, because I don't mind rubbing my handle with the sandpaper for a little bit. If it fits my hand, I'm just going to leave it alone, unless it's causing blisters on my hand or something like that. So I'm not going to bother with it personally. As far as the steel goes, some of you have issues with 1075 steel. Oh, that's too soft, dude. A knife should be made out of 1095 or it should be made out of 5160. I disagree. Would I want the Hudson Bay made out of Semi or Sanmai, whatever high-end, high-price steel that's out there? No. I'm perfectly fine with this being 1075. I wouldn't have them change a thing about it. The one thing I would have them change on it is I would have them put a hole right here in the handle for a lanyard, kind of like they did right there on the Bushcraft knife, but that's about it. Other than that, I wouldn't change much at all about this knife. So, perfect knife for chopping, for processing wood, for batoning wood, for building shelter. It's even versatile and light enough for you to be able to make tent stakes or whatever small carving chores. You're not going to whittle with a knife this size, but has absolutely no problem making tent stakes or anything of that sort. So for 30 bucks, you can process wood, you can build shelter. It's an excellent, excellent survival knife. You're not going to find a better knife for $30. Highly recommend.